Good morning guys! Good morning students! Welcome to my YouTube channel, and this time we're going to discuss how typhoons develop. By yours truly, this is Sir Dante. So the most essential learning competency: explain how typhoons develops and how it is affected by the land masses and bodies of water. In grade 7, you learned about the different layers of Earth's atmosphere, namely troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, and exosphere. You also learned that in troposphere, weather occurs because this layer contains most of the water vapor. In addition to this, you also learn concepts that help you explain why the wind blow and the atmospheric phenomenon called Intertropical Convergence Zone or ITCZ. So in this module, we will explore a weather phenomenon typhoon. We will learn some concepts about it. Understanding this concept will help us determine the condition that contribute to its formation, explain how it is developed. And our objectives are: number one, determine the conditions that contribute to the formation of a typhoon. And number two, explain how typhoons develop. And typhoon, locally known as bagyo in the Philippines, is just a category of tropical cyclone. It is characterized by strong wind and heavy rains, but the question is how it is formed and what is or what are the conditions needed for the formation of it. So this is the figure of the formation of typhoon. What are the requirements or what are the ingredients? Number one, we have the ocean surface. Kailangan po yung ocean surface natin. May water temperature siya na 26.5 degrees Celsius and up or up. Kailangan po mainit yung temperature ng ocean surface. So nangangahulugan meron po siya tinatawag na high pressure area. Right? Yan po yung first ingredients. Ang second ingredients is the wind. Number two, the wind. Kailangan po meron po tayo ditong cool air na papunta po dito sa mainit na lugar na ito. Okay? Dito po sa ocean surface na mainit. Kapag po naghalo yan, magkaroon po siya tinatawag na magkaroon siya ng warm, moist air rises. Yan. Nangangahulugan po, ito pong warm, moist air na to, tumataas po to in the form of water vapor. So, ang mangyayari po, yung warm, moist air rises, magiging siyang water vapor, tapos, yan po siya, magkakaroon po niya tawag na condensation. So, pag nagkaroon ng condensation, nagkakaroon po siya ng clouds. Okay? Clouds po. Nag-form siya ng clouds. So, ito po nagiging po itong bakante. Kasi, ang typhoon po nag-form, pero po siyang tinatawag na eye. May eye po siya, tapos dito sa side, eye wall. So, this is the eye of the typhoon. Winds rotates faster in form typhoons. Yan. Yung number 3 ingredients natin, clouds. Ngayon, yung fourth ingredients natin, yung mangyayari, magkaroon ng Coriolis effect, causes the air in the spiral. Nahulugan po, nagkaroon po siya ng wind rotation, counterclockwise. So, in the Philippines, kasi the Philippines is located in the northern hemisphere, ang po natin, ang rotate po ng typhoon is counterclockwise. So, once na nagkaroon po ng rotation ng wind, syempre yung sa gitna po, yan na po yung nag-form ng eye of the typhoon. Okay, number 5 na po yan. Yan po ang tinatawag na formation of a typhoon. Ulitin ko, first ingredients, warm ocean surface. Water temperature, 26.5 degrees Celsius or up. Okay? Yan po yan. Mainit na dagat. Tapos, ang second requirements is the wind, cool air, papunta po dito sa mainit na ocean, okay, na surface. Ang figure po ng formation of typhoon. Okay, so this is another drawing of how the typhoon developed. Unang-una, large warm ocean area, this one, the red part. So, ang tawag po dyan is the low pressure area. Meron po siyang cool air, no? Pag nagsama po yan, magkaroon po ng tawag na evaporated from the ocean surface. Rising air contains huge amount of moisture. Yan. Warm air rising, kapag po tumaas yung mainit na hangin pataas, dito po sa pinakataas na, magiging siyang warm air cool. Yan, lumalamig po na yung warm air. Temperature drops with altitude. So, yun po nangyari. Ito po ang nag-form ng eye. And, so this is the example of the half of the cyclone. Halimbawa, cut natin into two. So, the center is the eye. This is the eye wall. And this is the clouds forming. Hanggang ano po yan. Ang formation po ng clouds, umaabot po yan ng troposphere. Okay? Alright? So, typhoon are like engines that requires warm, moist air as fuel. Yan. Kailangan po ng mainit na hangin na kinukonsider po yan as fuel ng engine ng typhoon. So, the first ingredients needed for a typhoon is warm ocean water where the low pressure area is being formed. The second ingredient is wind. Wind is formed if there is a temperature difference. The temperature difference is caused as the air from the high pressure area rushes toward the low pressure area. As the wind passes over the ocean's surface, water evaporates, turns into water vapor, and rises. As it rises, the water vapor cools and condenses back into large water droplets, forming large clouds. These clouds are just the beginning. The movement of the air is a spiral as it rises due to Coriolis effect. As the air rotates faster, the low pressure area or LPA becomes a typhoon. Yan po yung explanation on how to form a typhoon. Okay? So, ano mang ibig sabihin ng Coriolis effect? The Coriolis effect describes the pattern of deflection taken by objects not firmly connected to the ground as they travel long distance around Earth. The Coriolis effect is responsible for many large-scale weather patterns. The key to the Coriolis effect lies on Earth's rotation, di ba? Yung Earth natin, say for instance, this is the Earth. So we have the west and the east. Ang rotation po ng Earth natin is going to the east. So nangulugan po, papunta po siya sa east yung rotation. Ngayon, once na nag-rotate siya to the east, ang sistema, yung wind from the northern hemisphere, yung wind from the northern hemisphere po will deflect to the right. Okay? To the right kasi nandito po yung high pressure, papunta yung low pressure dito, papunta po siya sa right, pag ano po, pag ganon. Dito naman sa southern hemisphere, papunta po siya sa left. Para po kayo, no? Yung wind. Kasi nandito yung high pressure, nandito yung low pressure, papunta po siya sa left. Dito naman sa northern hemisphere, from the left to the right. Okay? Kasi nandito yung high pressure sa Arctic pole. So, dito yung low pressure, papunta po siya sa right. Ito naman, dito sa Antarctic, yung high pressure, papunta sa left. Okay? So, this is the Coriolis force or Coriolis effect. So, we have the west and the east. So, dito po yan. Papunta dito sa east yung rotation ng Earth natin. So, ang sistema, ganyan pong nangyayari. Ano? Papunta sa right, papunta sa left. And, we have the tropical cyclone. What is the meaning of tropical cyclone? It is a system of thunderstorms that are moving around the center. As the wind intensifies or weakens, the category is upgraded or downgraded accordingly. Tropical depression, tropical storm, typhoons, and super typhoon are categories of tropical cyclones. So, we have the table 1 tropical cyclone categories. Okay? Category, tropical depression. Meron siyang maximum wind speed of 64 kph or 64 km per hour. Yan po ang tropical depression. We are talking about the maximum wind speed. And the tropical storm, we have 118 kph. The typhoon is 200 kph. And the super typhoons greater than 200 kph. So this is an image of the super typhoon Milor back in 2009, imaged by NASA Earth Observatory. Right? The term typhoon is used only in the northwestern part of the Pacific Ocean. Please remember that the term typhoon ay ginagamit po sa northwestern part of the Pacific Ocean. In the northeastern part of the Pacific Ocean and in the northern part of the Atlantic Ocean, the equivalent term is hurricane. Okay? Thus, the hurricane on one side of the Pacific Ocean will be called a typhoon if it crosses into the other side. So in the Philippines, we use the same word for all categories of tropical cyclones. We call it bagyo, whether it is a tropical depression, a tropical storm, or a typhoon. Right, so see for instance, this is our globe. Sa center natin, meron tinatawag na equator. Diba? Guguhitan natin dito sa center, ang tawag dyan equator. This is the Philippines. The Philippines is near to the equator but in the northern hemisphere. Diba? So, tandaan nyo the Philippines is near to the equator but in the northern hemisphere. Okay, so we are talking about hurricane. Let's talk about hurricane. Formed in the northeastern Pacific and North Atlantic. Tandaan nyo hurricane. This is the example of the hurricane. Halimbawa, nag-drawing ako dyan. This is the hurricane. Nasa north siya and nasa north siya ng Eastern Pacific. Kasi ito, we have ang Pacific Ocean kasi natin, mayroon na tawag na Eastern and Western. Okay. So, nasa ano po siya, nasa east po siya ng Pacific. This is the Pacific Ocean. This is the Pacific Ocean. Kung i-connect natin yung dalawa, okay, nangulugan, nasa north po siya ng Pacific Ocean. Okay? Pag nag-form dyan yung cyclone, tawag dyan hurricane. Kasi nasa northeastern. Bakit north? Kasi nasa taas. Bakit east? Kasi nasa east siya. Ito ang west. Ito po ang west. Doon sa likod doon, which is this, is the east. Okay? And the North Atlantic. Ito po. This is the Atlantic Ocean. Okay? Atlantic Ocean. Nasa north po siya. Nasa bandang taas. Nakuha nyo? Ulitin ko This is the Eastern Pacific. Okay? This is the Western Pacific. Pero nasa taas po siya, kaya North Eastern Pacific. Hurricane po ang tawag dyan. Pag nabupo dyan sa lugar na yan, yung tinatawag na bagyo or cyclone. Hurricane, North Eastern Pacific, and North Atlantic, ang tawag din is hurricane. Okay? So, let's talk about typhoon. Okay, dito, may hurricane tayo. Typhoon occurred in the West Pacific. Tingnan nyo Ito yung Philippines, di ba? O, tingnan nyo, West Pacific. Nasa west siya. West dito, doon, is east. Yung nandito po, ito na yun. I-connect lang natin. So, ang tawag po doon, typhoon. Actually, in general, typhoon ang tawag dyan. Okay, now? So, let's talk about tropical cyclone. Formed in the Indian Ocean and South Pacific. Nasaan ba ang tropical cyclone? Nag-form po siya sa Indian Ocean. Ito po. Indian Ocean to. Kaya po itong Indian Ocean, kasama na po ito sa Southern Hemisphere. At ito rin po, tingnan nyo we have the South Pacific. Diba? North, South. Diba? Nasa baba siya. Nasa Southern Hemisphere siya. Kaya po ang tawag sa yung weather disturbance is tropical cyclone. So, we have the tropical region. Tingnan nyo Let's talk about this. This is the map of the globe. We have the break line here. We have the equator. Tingnan nyo Tapos meron tayong tinatawag na Tropic of Cancer. Ang other words of Tropic of Cancer is Northern Hemisphere. Meron din tayong tinatawag na Tropic of Capricorn. Ang tawag yan is Southern Hemisphere. Ito pong pink na to, ang tawag dito is tropical region. tropical region. So, lahat po dito, nag-form po yung tropical cyclone. Okay ba? Nakuha niyo? In the southern hemisphere, dito po sa baba, in the southern hemisphere, ang rotation po ng bagyo dito po sa southern hemisphere is clockwise. Ang guluhan po, papunta sa right. Paggaling po sa southern hemisphere. Sa northern hemisphere naman, ang rotation po ng typhoon or cyclone is counterclockwise. Okay? So, structure of tropical cyclone. Ano ba yung structure ng tropical cyclone? Una-una ay, may mata po yung tropical cyclone. It is a roughly circular area found at the center of the several or severe tropical cyclone. There is a little or no precipitation and sometimes blue sky or stars can be seen. Nahugan? Malinaw po yung kalangitan doon sa eye. It is the region of lowest surface pressure and the warmest temperature aloft upper levels. Okay? So, eye range in size from 8 km to over 200 km across, but most are approximately 30 to 60 km in diameter. So, after eye, meron po siyang tinatawag na eye wall. The eye wall surrounds the eye of the tropical cyclone, the area of highest surface wind. The eye wall region also sees the maximum sustained wind. In other words, fastest wind in the cyclone occurs along the eye wall region. The next is spiral bands. Convection in the cyclone is organized into long, narrow rain bands which are oriented in the same direction as the horizontal wind. Because these bands seem to spiral into the center of a tropical cyclone, they are called spiral bands. So we have the vocabulary list. The first one is air. The air is the invisible mixture of gases that surrounds the earth. Condition, sometimes essential or requirements to the occurrence of something. Develop, to grow or change something into a larger, more advanced or stronger form. Formation, something that is formed or created. kph, kilometer per hour. Moist, moderately wet. Spiral, turning into circular motion. Swirl, to move with a whirling motion. Thunderstorm, form of weather characterized by the presence of lightning and thunder. Wind, the movement of the air relative to the surface of the earth. Water vapor, a gas phase of water. Okay, that's it. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. And thank you so much for understanding our topic. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. And don't forget to tell to other students to watch this video for more information about the topic. Thank you.